If you follow our channel, you may have seen our recent recap of the Demon Slayer anime. Of course, there's still plenty of story left that the anime has yet to cover. With the third season not yet out, this is the perfect time to go over the Swordsmith Village Arc. This arc shows off several new Hashira and new demons, so there is a lot to be excited about. Obviously, we can't go over every little detail in the recap, so we absolutely recommend reading Demon Slayer if you haven't already. So without further ado, let's get right into Swordsmith Village and see what it's all about. At the start of the arc, quite some time has passed since the end of the Red Light District arc. Tanjiro was injured during his battle with Daki and Gitaro, but has managed to make a full recovery. So have Zenitsu and Inosuke, who both have recovered before Tanjiro. As you might remember, Tanjiro's sword was chipped in the last arc, which makes it a lot less useful in a fight. The swordsmith who forged the sword, Hotaru Haganazuka, does not take the news lightly, as Tanjiro finds out when he receives a bunch of angry letters from him, refusing to forge a new blade. Tanjiro realizes the only way to sort this out is to visit the secret Swordsmith Village in person. Of course, the location of the village is hidden, so in order to get there, Tanjiro has to be blindfolded and carried there. Once at the village, Tanjiro has a talk with the village chief. The chief promises to go find Hotaru for him or get someone else to make a new sword. In the meantime, Tanjiro decides to check out the local hot springs. On his way up there, he runs into one of the Hashira, Mitsuri Kanroji, the love Hashira. They don't have much time to talk as Mitsuri finds out that the villagers are making dinner. Up at the hot springs, Tanjiro encounters another demon slayer by the name of Genya Shinazugawa. He is the brother of the wind Hashira, Sanami Shinazugawa. Genya is not in the mood to talk to Tanjiro and storms off. Later at dinner, Tanjiro remembers that Sanami once told him that he doesn't have a brother, so it seems that there is some family drama going on. Also during dinner, Tanjiro talks to Mitsuri some more, where she reveals that she joined the Demon Slayer Corps to find a husband, specifically a husband as strong as her. The next day, Tanjiro is walking around the nearby woods and trying to find Hotaru. While looking, he stumbles across something else. He finds another Hashira, Muichiro Tokito, the Mist Hashira, talking with a boy from the village named Kotetsu. The two of them are arguing, with Muichiro demanding a key from Kotetsu. Tanjiro tries to break them up, only to get knocked out by Muichiro. When Tanjiro wakes up again, Kotetsu is checking on him. Tanjiro asks about the key that Muichiro asks, and Kotetsu explains it belongs to an ancient training device. Tanjiro hears the sounds of fighting and goes to check on it. He finds Muichiro and the training device in question, a 6-armed robot known as Yoriichi Type 0. For some reason, Tanjiro notices something familiar about the training robot. And if you'll notice, Yoriichi Type 0 wears the same type of earrings as Tanjiro. Muichiro ends up breaking off one of the robot's arms, which upsets Kotetsu. Tanjiro gives Kotetsu a pep talk, and together the two of them confirm that the robot still works, albeit missing one arm. Kotetsu tells Tanjiro that he wants him to train with Yoriichi Type 0, specifically to become stronger than Muichiro. Unfortunately, it turns out that, while very determined, Kotetsu is not that great a teacher. He refuses to give Tanjiro any food until Tanjiro defeats the training doll, and as a result, Tanjiro nearly starves to death. Luckily, Tanjiro is able to improve and successfully hits the doll's neck, breaking open its head completely. Much to Tanjiro and Kotetsu's surprise, it turns out a sword was hidden inside the training robot. This works well for Tanjiro since he has been looking for a new sword. Unfortunately, the sword is so old that it's completely rusted. It's around then that Hotaru shows up, looking a lot more muscular than usual. It turns out he's been up in the mountains training to become a better swordsmith, and Hotaru promises to fix up the rusted blade into a proper katana. Later that night, we find out that the two members of the 12 Kazuki have infiltrated the village. First is rank 5 Gyoko, a fish-like demon contained within a vase. The other is rank 4 Hantengu. He is a demon that appears to be nothing more than a weak, elderly man, but as we'll soon see, that's not quite the case. For now, our demon slayers are oblivious to the presence of the two Kazuki. Tanjiro and Muichiro have been peacefully talking about their lives as this was happening. Muichiro in particular was curious about Nezuko, since there aren't many demons like her, but Hantengu interrupts them when he slowly crawls into the room. They're able to react quickly and behead Hantengu, but things aren't over just yet. Despite having his head cut off, Hantengu is still alive. And even worse, the two halves of his body start forming into new beings. You see, Hantengu has the ability to split himself into different demons, each based on different emotions. The two new demons demolish the house and overwhelm Tanjiro and Muichiro. That's when Genya shows up, wielding a gun that he uses against the demons. He blasts both of their heads off, but this just makes the situation worse. Now the demons have split into 4 separate bodies. The demons overpower Tanjiro, Genya, and Muichiro, and the fight is taken out into the woods. Muichiro ends up encountering Kotetsu being attacked by one of Gyoko's fish demon minions. He rescues Kotetsu and takes him with him while he looks for some of the other swordsmiths. Muichiro and Kotetsu find the swordsmith Kozo Kanamori being attacked by another fish demon. Once Muichiro kills the demon, Kozo takes note of Muichiro's chipped blade. He says that Hotaru is in a nearby shed and has a new blade for Muichiro. But as they approach, Muichiro detects a demon nearby. This time, it's Gyoko. Muichiro and Gyoko face off against each other, but it doesn't go well for Muichiro at first. He ends up being hit by a barrage of poison needles and trapped inside a large vase made of water, all while Gyoko taunts him. Back in the village, more of Gyoko's fish demons are rampaging around, but luckily Mitsuri Kanroji arrives on the scene just in time to dispatch of the demons and save the village chief. Meanwhile, Tanjiro is still battling the 4 separate forms of Hantengu. After a tough battle, Tanjiro is able to behead several of them using his sun-breathing technique, which prevents them from regenerating. He goes searching for the 4th demon only to find that Genya has already found and beheaded them. However, Tanjiro realizes the battle isn't done yet when he smells a 5th body. He rushes off with Genya and Nezuko to go find him. They fight off the emotion demons who have managed to partially recover as they search. Eventually, Tanjiro leads Genya to Hantengu. It seems that Hantengu has somehow shrunken himself down. Genya's attempts to kill Hantengu fail. He is too small for him to shoot, and his attempt to cut off Hantengu's head just causes his sword to snap. Tanjiro tries to behead Hantengu next and manages to force his sword partway into his neck. But it's then that Tanjiro smells the presence of a new demon. This new demon transforms some nearby trees into dragon-like monsters that attack Tanjiro. This is the demon of hatred. It was created when the anger demon absorbed the other 3 to become more powerful. While this is all going on, Hotaru has been spending this whole time repairing the ancient blade Tanjiro found. He's completely oblivious to the fact that Gyoko has broken into his shed and is trying to kill him. Kozo defends Hotaru from Gyoko's assault, but is outmatched. Right outside of the shed, Muichiro has been struggling to get out of the water vase and is slowly drowning. Kotetsu approaches the vase and tries to rescue Muichiro. He blows air bubbles into the water to let Muichiro breathe. Newly invigorated, Muichiro uses his mist breathing to escape from the water. Now recovered, Muichiro rushes in to fight Gyoko. He gets his newly made sword from the shed and uses it to fight against the fish demon. The two of them engage in battle and Muichiro seems to have the upper hand, cutting through several of Gyoko's attacks. Gyoko fully gets out of his vase and transforms himself into a more powerful form. Muichiro takes advantage of Gyoko's egotistical personality, acting unimpressed about his new form to throw off Gyoko. Using his mist breathing, Muichiro shrouds the area in mist to get the upper hand, and that's when he beheads Gyoko, killing him once and for all. Of course, things aren't done yet. Tanjiro is still fighting against Hantengu's tree demons. Luckily, it's then that Mitsuri shows up to help out in the fight. She manages to put up a good fight, but is overwhelmed by the hatred demon. The hatred demon, impressed by Mitsuri's strength, decides he wants to eat her to gain her power. However, Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya all manage to get Mitsuri out of harm's way. Mitsuri says she'll fight off the hatred demon while the other 3 go to find Hantengu's main body. The 3 of them are attacked attacked by another tree demon, and it's then that we learn one of Genya's abilities. He has the unique power to temporarily gain demonic abilities if he eats a demon's flesh, or in the case of this demon, it's bark. After defeating the tree demon, Tanjiro spots Hantengu fleeing and chases after him. He manages to catch up to Hantengu by using a technique he remembered from Zenitsu and tries to behead the demon. But it's right then that Hantengu transforms into a larger version of himself. He tries to strangle Tanjiro, but Genya and Nezuko attempt to stop him. Genya tries prying Hantengu's fingers away, and Nezuko sets the demon on fire. The group ends up tumbling down the side of a cliff, and Hantengu tries to use this opportunity to escape. Hantengu is incredibly weakened, but notices several nearby swordsmiths that he decides he wants to eat. Tanjiro gets up and realizes his sword is lodged halfway into Hantengu's neck. He's about to rush ahead and attack Hantengu when a new sword lands in front of him. Looking up, Tanjiro sees that Muichiro has shown up and has thrown his sword down to him. Using the new sword, Tanjiro rushes for Hantengu to finish him off. He decapitates Hantengu using his Hinokami Kagura technique. The sun has begun to rise, and Tanjiro calls over to Nezuko to hide before the light touches her. But Tanjiro then realizes that Nezuko is pointing behind him. Somehow, Hantengu's headless body is still alive and rushing for the swordsmiths. Tanjiro realizes that the large body was another fake, and his real body is hidden inside the larger one's heart. With one final strike, Tanjiro beheads Hantengu's real body. Tanjiro looks back to check on Nezuko, who he thinks has died in the sunlight. But it turns out that somehow, Nezuko is still alive. The bamboo gag she always wears has fallen out of her mouth, and she's even able to speak normally. Despite that, Nezuko is still fully a demon. So it seems that Tanjiro's quest to restore her humanity isn't done yet. After this, we cut to somewhere far away when we see Muzan disguised as a young, wealthy boy. Muzan has learned of Nezuko and her new daywalking abilities. For centuries, Muzan has been searching for a way to step into the sun again, and she just may be it. So whatever happens next, we can be sure that Muzan has big plans for Nezuko. And that's more or less the Swordsmith Village arc. But like we said at the beginning, there are a lot of smaller details we couldn't go over, so we still recommend reading it if you can. Swordsmith Village will be the next major arc that the Demon Slayer adapts, so we can all be sure that these scenes will be animated very soon.